Hello and welcome everybody to the Meeting Gold podcast. Mitchell just came here today, and it's been hard to get you on because we both have tight schedules, but I can tell it's going to be worth it, man. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Listen, Mitchell is kind of doing everything right now. This guy's killing it in being a mortgage agent. He's what else do you do? Give us a little rundown, the audience here.
I'll give you a little brief bio on myself.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Niagara Falls, which is my hometown. I recently just moved my children and wife. So I have 3 kids. I got a beautiful wife. We moved to Port Colborne. So I call it the south coast of Niagara. And
take pride in it, right?
100%. My full-time job is I sell liquor. So Smirnoff, Crown Royal, Captain Morgan, Bailey's, all the big brands to local restaurants and establishments. But my love was I really wanted to get into finance, right? I love the finance industry. I love the financial industry itself. And I wanted to get into mortgages, right? Like, I love real estate, right? I think I've bought and sold this 5 or 6 houses now in the past 8 years, 9 years. And I wanted to find out more. I wanted to learn more. And I did it out of necessity, right? I wanted to learn my own mortgage.
Right.
And I wanted to help people.
So you wanted to, it seems like you kind of like doing things yourself, which is, there's no problem with that because you can certainly do them well, I can tell. So, how did that kind of start for you in terms of like wanting to be diversified? Because it seems like you do a good job at that is I want to get into real estate, but I also want to have a backbone here, like that kind of thing, like diversifying your income, but also diversifying, what you're doing. So if one thing, maybe is a slower season, you can kick it on for another thing kind of thing. Like, what's the thought process behind diversifying yourself through business?
Yeah, I'll tell you my why.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was younger, I always had a goal. I always wanted to be Jerry Maguire. That was my goal, right?
Wait, for anybody who doesn't know, who's Jerry Maguire?
Jerry Maguire was a sports agent. It was all about show me the money, right? So I wanted to work in the sports industry. I thought it was the life of luxury. But at a young age, you get a rude awakening, right? So when I was 14 years old, I ended up losing my father to a car accident.
Wow. Yeah.
So, almost 21 years he's been gone. So my father's death pushed me to either go in one direction or the other. I chose, let's focus on school. Let's focus on my family. I got a younger sister, and my mother and my stepfather took a bigger role into my development. So when I was 19 years old, I was the youngest guy in the sports and entertainment industry. I worked with the Hamilton Bulldogs, American Hockey League.
That's incredible, man.
Which I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan, so it was the boyhood dream. But then the Bulldogs sold off their sales department to the city of Hamilton. I ended up losing my job. So out of necessity, I said, okay, what am I going to do? Right, I got into different sales jobs, and then I found a great job in the liquor industry. But my why was about a year ago. A year ago, I got diagnosed with a rare thyroid condition. My wife and I and children, hope for the best. And, we originally thought it was cancer.
Right.
It wasn't. So the thyroid condition, it's unbeatable. I can never beat it. It's called Graves' disease.
Okay.
So there's meds for that. And I said to my wife, what am I going to do? Right. Why am I in existence? What am I going to leave my children? Right, I love the business.
What purpose
but
do you
I
have?
want more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I always tell my kids, you got to have more. You want to have more. You want to push yourself. I went back to school. I actually took finance diploma at Sheridan College. It's supposed to take 2 years. It took me 4 months to get.
Wow. Wait. So how old were you there?
35 years old. Went
Wow.
back to school. Went to Niagara College. Took another program there. Got it in 4 months. Also, supposed to take 2 years. I went back, got my Canadian Professional Sales Certificate, and I said to my wife, I want more. I want to get my mortgage license.
Yeah.
And here's why I want to get it. I want to be able to do my own mortgage, and I wanted to be able to help family, friends, and anybody that was referred to me, and I want to give them the best possible experience for them, and I want to put them first. It's not about me, it's about them.
Right.
So that's my why, is I want to help people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in the relationship business.
It 100%. And I was going to ask you, because like you getting into sales, that's a big thing. Was your dad in sales at all, or like was that something in the family, or was you kind of pioneering that?
My mother wasn't in sales. My father was not in sales. My stepdad not in sales. My family was never in sales. I wanted to get into it because I saw the life of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
right? If I were to have kids, like, a lot of people, no one would really know this. My daughters, they were 1 in 100,000 to make it.
Wow.
They were a rare twin. They made it. They're 8 years old now. We had to go for, 85 tests with my kids, right? They came out 32 weeks, and they came out 3 pounds, 10 ounces. Wow. Now you look at them and you forget all about it. But if I wasn't in sales, I wouldn't have the flexibility to drive back and forth to Hamilton to take my wife for the test and to see my kids and stay in the Ronald McDonald House with my wife and kids.
And that's a big one, is like, a lot of people like the flexibility, even for free time, but for you, it was for family. Being able to, I mean, like you just said, be flexible, have that extra time, and to kind of maneuver your schedule around the more important things, right?
For sure.
Which is something that a lot of people, I guess, forget about or don't set aside time for, right? Is even if you're in the even if you're in like sales or something that allows for a little bit more flexibility, it's hard to set aside time for family, for friends, to just take a break. And, it actually is skillful to be able to do that. A lot of people are just workaholics and they don't know how to take a break. And it's actually, I admire that, is that you knew, I want to support my family, I need to be there, right? And that was something that you set aside time for. So you knew you want to get into sales. Was it hard starting out in terms of financially, like, it's something I'm starting to pick up? Or was it like, you're kind of booming right out the gate with the Hamilton Bulldogs, getting into sales, and then you got into the liquor industry, sales just went phenomenal from there? Or was it like a tough road leading up to what is now?
When I worked for the Bulldogs, right, I was on 100% commission. I went there with my resume and said, here, I'll work on 100% commission. You're not going to pay me a salary.
You were that confident, eh?
I wanted to be in the industry so bad I was willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Right? That's sort of my motto, is I will work harder. I will push myself harder. Right. And I believe in like signs, right?
Right.
So I'm all about, signs, and I'm all about the number 13, right? I'll give you, of the why behind the sales and what kind of pushes me.
Yeah.
So on my arm, like I wear 13 pieces of jewelry all the time, right? It's my father's number. We found out 13 years to my father's passing, we were having twins.
Wow.
Okay. My wife went the next day for coffee. Her change was 1313. My daughters were born at 1313, June 13th, 2013. 3 pounds, 13 ounces.
Are you serious?
Unbelievable. Yeah, right? So I fully believe in the signs, right? So, for me, the Bulldogs, it was my dad. My dad loved the Montreal Canadiens, so it was a sign from him, okay, let's push it. I'm going to go. I'm going to believe in myself, right? And from that, I sold the first ever suite that a sales guy ever sold with the Bulldogs. It normally was handled by the director of corporate sales or director of sales. I sold that. I think it was $20,000 a year. Sold that. I was on 100% commission. I think my first paycheck was $350 biweekly.
Wow.
Didn't even cover my gas to get there. But I did it for the love. I was still living at home. After that, I got into facility sales. And then from that, I sold pharmaceuticals at a company in Oakville. Unbelievable company. But when you hear the words, you're having high-risk twins, you make a decision. And I was very lucky. A good friend of mine was in the food industry.
Right.
I got into food sales and
B2B, sort of like B2B sales.
Basically selling commercial food and, regular day food to restaurants.
Right.
Sort of like a Cisco or GFS. I work for Summit Foods. It was the 4th biggest distributor. Wow. I remember the story. Everyone says, how are you going to be 4th best? No, I'm number 1. I'm going to get to number 1. So I took the territory to like 2.7 million, 2.8 million. I think the highest ever at Summit was $1 million. So then a great friend of mine, Brian White, said, Mitch, I got a great job for you. It's in the liquor industry. I want you to interview for it. So I ended up interviewing for it, ended up getting it. 7 years later, I'm still there. I've won Rep of the Year 3 years.
You're loving it.
It's a great company, right? But again, I wanted something to do, at night when my daughters are gymnastics, when my daughters are, at dance, my daughters are horseback riding. I wanted more, and I wanted to say, do I have a backup plan just in case? And I wanted to be in the mortgage industry so bad because I wanted to know my options of my own mortgage, my family's mortgage, friends and family.
So like being informed was a big one for you.
That's it, man. It's all about information. If you have more information, you are that much ahead of somebody else.
That's true. That's true. And it's a good way to look at it, especially in anything. So, let me ask you that, like, I'll hold you to that, is like, what, coming into sales, why are you so much better than the average person? Like, what makes you that level higher? Do you have more information on the company before you call them? Or like, what does that kind of look like for you, that process?
It's not being better, right? I think I'm more analytical, right? So,
Right.
When I was in the food industry, I would break everything down in cost per ounces, right? I would spreadsheet everything, right? Even when we, bought and sold houses for my wife, I knew everything down to the penny of how much everything was going to cost because I spreadsheeted everything.
Are you serious?
It's all about spreadsheets, the fine tuning of things, even in this industry, right? We get all the data for all the restaurants, and it's about breaking it down cost per ounce. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how much the savings are going to be. And here's how the go-to-market strategy is going to be. Just like, when I got into the mortgage industry, how am I going to do it? Why am I doing it? And can I make it work where I can do both?
Right.
And I can, because at the end of the day, I'm organized and everything's about analytics, right? Everybody wants to know how much their mortgage payment is going to be.
That's true. Yeah.
They want to see it on paper. They just don't want you to tell them. They want to see it, right? How can I pay the mortgage down faster? Is there a strategy, right? And it's about looking at the strategy. And again, it's, typical agents will say, oh, the best thing for you is a 5-year. It's not, right? It is, but it's not about you. It's about them. If they say, I want to go to a 3-year mortgage, I'll do it. If they say, I want to go to, a 2-year, no problem. It's about them. If they have a strategic goal where, they're doing a new build and they're going to sell it within 2 years, we'll look at the best option for them over that
within that 2 years.
100%.
Right.
Again, it's not about me. It's about getting the referral in the end.
Yeah.
So I might not make as much as I should on that deal, but out of that, I might get 3-4 referrals.
And that's the biggest thing, is like, to talk business now, is like, when you are working for somebody, whether it's in video, me, or, mortgages or liquor or something, whatever it is, being able to recognize that I'm not going to try to squeeze a client for like a little bit more money, because it's just not worth it. Right? It's just not worth it. What's an extra, like honestly, why squeeze somebody when you would rather them say, hey, to their friend, Sam or Mitchell does a really good job at said thing, right? You should go check them out. It's worth way more. Referrals worth way more than the, a couple extra $100 or whatever it is that you could have gotten trying to squeeze them.
100%, right? Because, I say this to other people, I've said it to my wife, is you're getting taxed on the money anyways.
That's
so if
true.
You're going to squeeze them for an extra $10. What did you squeeze them for? An extra $6? Is $6 really worth it in the end?
Yeah,
it's not. And that's how I built it, right? So far, just in the mortgage thing, it's been all referral based, and it's been all word of mouth, right? You start with 1, then you're up to 3, then you go from 3 to 5, 7 to 9, and so on. And I did the same thing in my own businesses, looking at, in liquor business, who's my A client, who's my B, who's my C, and who's my D? How can I move the D up to a C, C up to a B, B up to an A up to an A plus, and grow it that way, right? And, grow the share. When I was in the food industry, same thing. Spreadsheet. I'd have a basically Bristol board. Okay, here's an account A. This is the percentage of market we're getting right now. Okay, do we have this? Do we have this? Do we have this? And it's just picking away and building the relationships and finding a way. And there's always a reason. It is what a good friend of mine told me years ago. There's always a reason they're either going to buy off you or they're not.
Right.
You need to find out that reason and the why.
Yeah.
Because really, I could have a better deal, right? And it's like when you're car shopping, the guy might have a better deal. There's a why you're not buying off that person.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I admire the fact that you're very analytical, because I think a lot, like, I try to talk a little bit about it now, and I certainly have to do a better job at it. But like, keeping track of your spending habits, your finances, just in general, will make you that much better at managing, your money. And it's actually quite interesting, because it's like, when you know how much money you're spending on food, let's say a month, just on random stuff, right? You kind of look at it and like, wait, I'm spending way too much money. I got to slow down. And then it actually helps you save money, right? So managing your finances is a big one, to actually saving the money that's coming in, rather than just going out, spending it, not knowing where you're spending it, not even remembering paying cash, whatever it looks like, not even tracking it, right? It's really
Agreed.
interesting that you're super analytical. Like, what was the process for you, like, getting it? Were you always like that? Were your parents like that? Like, what was that? Why so analytical?
Well, I think, going to school at, at a young age and looking at it, right? You got to look at, okay, look at all the class you're taking. You're taking economics. You're doing Excel. You're doing computers. You're doing this. Okay. But what's my next step? What about when I want to go into the real world, right? What about when I want to do this? So, right, when I went to the Bulldogs, I didn't start with spreadsheets. They said, okay, this is how we're going to do everything. Everything's tracked via Excel. Everyone's tracked through this. This is how you're going to do your Salesforce. This is how we're going to do databases. So really, for me, that was the wow moment. But now, really, it's, I fine tune it, because if you see it on paper, seeing it is believing it.
Yeah.
If you're saying it, it's just hot air. But at the end of the day, I want to see it to believe it. I want to see the savings.
Actions speak louder than words.
You got it, man.
Same thing goes for finance, right?
100%. And, it's same in golf, right? It's, what is it? Drive for show, putt for dough.
Yeah.
Right? The putting's the most important thing in the game. A lot of people don't practice that, where the spreadsheeting, the analytics, not a lot of people practice that. They practice the, I'm so-and-so, here's my business card, here's this, and they're doing the, the cat and the rabbit sort of, cat in the hat and the magic tricks.
Yeah.
No, you got to see it on paper, because the client's eventually going to ask for that on paper.
Yeah, exactly. And to the audience out there, like, no matter how much money you have, whether you're making $200 a month or 200 grand a year, it doesn't matter, right? Keep track of your finances, because it's a good habit to have. You'll understand where you're spending your money, and you'll be able to make more. Like, if you really think about it, that is like, how can I make more money, Mitchell? Oh, well, realistically, it's easy. Start by creating a spreadsheet and figuring out how much money you're wasting.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, right? And it's also looking at different options, right? Are you, do you have, life insurance? I'm using an example, right? Everyone needs life insurance. Everyone's, I'm not going to die. You need life insurance, right? How much is that going to cost? How much coverage am I going to get? Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it.
Yep.
Right? Do I need this? Maybe I don't need this extra spend. I can put it towards, the down payment of a house, or I could put it towards this, right? Everyone says the car is the worst investment. It is, but it's a daily necessity. To buy a
it's
car.
like what do they call it? Like a necessary evil kind of thing, right?
It's like insurance, necessary evil.
Yes.
Right? You can't live without it.
Yeah.
Right? People can't live without cars, but I don't agree with it. But it's a necessary evil.
Yep, 100%. Well, Mitchell, we're coming close to our time here. However, I want to get into a little bit about, you being that 14-year-old boy, your dad passing away, unfortunately. That obviously really affected you, but you went down a good road after that. That pushed you to go down a good road. But I feel like, I don't have experience in that, but a lot of people would choose to go down a bad road, and it would really negatively affect them. I'm sure it was hard, but you seem like you've found the positive in that, and you've really moved on to better things of what your dad would want you to do. Yep. To somebody out there, like somebody lost their dad or their parents, maybe not at 14, maybe at 20, 25, sure. and they're looking for direction. What would you say to them to encourage them to find, their purpose again?
For me, right, it's, now looking at it, with the clearer lens, right? For the first couple of years, I was mad, right? I was mad about it, right? Why?
Yeah.
Why him? Why did it? But then it's like, okay, you look at, I'm still alive. How can I make it a purpose to live my life and still keep them in my life, right? And still remember the good times. Like, my wife and I started a golf tournament in his name. We started a scholarship in his name, which no longer exists, because really with 3 young kids, you don't have a lot of time to do that, right? The extracurricular with that. Honestly, for me, it's a touchy subject. Have a support group, right? Like my mother was great, right? My stepdad was great, right? Is talking it out and hearing the great stories about, that loved one.
Yeah.
That really brings closure, right? Go there, right? Like for me, I go to the cemetery to see my dad, right? It just might be me by myself, but that's my closure. And it just might be sitting there having a beer with him. That's it. We're just leaving a beer there, or bringing him after a golf round, bringing him the golf ball. And that's my closure. And it's that aha moment where it's, okay, my dad was just here. I pulled out the cemetery a couple weeks ago, and there was a school bus that passed me, or like that was in front of me. It was the thing on it was 13. So
Are you serious? Oh my
right?
God!
I was driving down Lundy's Lane the other day, and the license plate was 13 Mike. My dad's name was Mike. His number was 13. So it's that moment where he always knows you're there. So the person you lose, you look at the thing that was their call to action or something that you will remember about them. So with my father, it was the number 13 was, so not, it was his number.
Yeah.
And he pushed that number to me. He pushed it to my sister. My sister, obviously we're 17, but I was 13 all the way through. And, even the new house that I bought across the street from me, the guy's got a trailer in the driveway. It's number 13 right in the driveway. So I see it every day. I leave the house and, we pass my new subdivision. We pass Michael Drive 4 times on the way to school. That was my dad's name. So my father's always watching out for us. So to anybody out there, it's looking at the person, taking all the positives out. Right? Not looking at, it's negative. Yeah, I lost a family member, but it's pushing through and remembering them for the good times.
You couldn't have said it any better, Mitchell. And I know It's a touchy subject, so I really do appreciate you coming on that. But, it's worth it, right? If somebody's listening to this and they're struggling with the same thing. So that's why I appreciate you, being honest about it. But one last thing. What does the future kind of look like? Like, I know you're a big family guy, and I know you were talking about your daughters and how there's one a Dolphin fan, Cowboys fan, and then you're a Saints fan, and then some Bills fans in the house too. So there's a fair bit of a mix there. But can you kind of talk about like the future of, maybe do you want to keep your family here in the Niagara area? Job wise, what does that look like? Do you really know? Are you a big planner in that, or you kind of just going with the flow kind of thing?
Well, I know for sure my family will stay in the region.
Yep.
We're born and raised here. My wife and I. My wife's a Thorold girl. But right now, listen, we love Port Colborne. It's a small town. It's great. There's something to be said about a small town where, you go to the grocery store and nobody really knows your name. It's not like Cheers.
Yeah.
I actually like that. It's great because you can turn off the business aspect of something for a couple hours, even a couple days. And job wise, listen, I love what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Yeah.
So right now I'm comfortable doing what I'm doing, and I really love the flexibility I have with my current job. And then, at night and, weekends doing the mortgage agent and the mortgage business, because I love that also.
Yeah.
So that's, that's where I'm going to go career wise, and my family's going to stay put, because really moving them now, when they love the house, they love the school. Like, their school's got 140 kids. There's 10 kids in their class.
Wow.
It's
my
incredible.
God.
You don't get that anywhere in the region.
Yeah.
It's the best thing. And we were meant to be there. Like I said, we're passing Michael Drive 4 times. It's unheard of.
That's incredible.
Right?
Well, I can tell you, you're a big relationship guy, whether it's with family or clients or friends, you value all of them. So it goes to show, and, business is relationships.
100%, man. You just hit the nail on that. Business is all about relationships.
100%.
Tell them you won't make it.
Yep, exactly. Well, on that note, Mitchell, thank you so much. Like, seriously, man, thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. Just like Mitchell, we have some incredible guests lined up as well. We've got some podcasts being pumped out now too. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening, guys. That's a wrap. Thank you for listening to this week's Golden Guest on the Meeting Gold podcast. If you learned something from today's episode, make sure to check out our other content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, make sure to leave us a follow while you're there. Thanks, and have a golden day.